Welcome to this video. Today we are talking about Science Chapter 1, Chapter 2 for Class 7. Chapter 2 for Class 7, Nutrition in Animals. Animals get their food from plants. As we know, animals are not autotrophs. They cannot synthesize their own food. They don't have photosynthesis capability. Animals get their food from plants. They either eat the plant food, that is the cauliflower or the potato or the tomato, the food stored by the plants in their roots, in their shoots, in their leaves, in their seeds, in their fruit, vegetables, all that is what we eat. Sometimes sugarcane, where food is stored by the plants in the stem. Animals and living beings get their food from various parts of the plant where plants store their food. Sometimes animals eat other animals also. We have the carnivores or omnivores where we eat the chicken or the lamb or the buffalo meat. Why we need food? We need food for the nutrient requirements. Nutrition is the way we fulfill our nutrient requirements. So why is this nutrition? What are the nutrients? The nutrients are the carbohydrate, the protein, the minerals, the fat, the vitamins, water, etc. How do we intake this? We have this food in various forms. Now, this food is utilized by the body, and that is why we have to have the food. Why is the body utilizing the food? The body is utilizing the food to grow, to repair the dead and decayed cells, the sick cells, to recover from the sickness, and to reproduce. So, to grow, to repair, to reproduce, and for the energy to live, animals need to have food which can be digested and utilized. So this utilization of the food by the body is called a process called digestion. In animals, we have a digestive system that takes care of the digestion. What is that? Breaking down of the complex substances. Digestion is breaking down of the complex substances. What's the mode of intake? Different living beings other than plants, the animals or the birds or the fish, take food in different forms. For example, bees and hummingbirds suck the nectar of the plants, flowers. Suck the nectar of the flowers from the plants. Infants feed from the mother's milk. You have seen the goat, the cow, all the mammals suckle the mother's milk. Then python swallow the animals they prey upon. Many lizards also do this. They swallow the animals that they prey upon. Then you have the aquatic animals which filter the floating particles. From fish to the bigger shark, they have capability to filter from among the floating particles whatever prey they want to have as their food. So some are scraping, some are chewing, some are siphoning, some capture and swallow, some are sponging, some are sucking. These are the different ways in which the intake of the food happens in different animals. Now there is a special type of animal called starfish. We all like starfish because of the design of that animal. The starfish feeds on animals covered by hard shells. So the prey of the starfish is having a hard shell. So what does a starfish do? It pops out its stomach through its mouth to eat the soft animal inside. The starfish pops out the stomach. Normally what we do, we take the food and put inside our mouth. Starfish pops out the stomach through the mouth and then it takes the soft animal tissue. That is how the starfish eats. So these are the different ways of mode of intake of food in animals. Now animals like humans have digestive system. The human digestive system is a bit more evolved. Animals also have their digestive system. They take the food through the mouth. The food is digested in the stomach and in the intestine. It is absorbed in the continuous canal. It is called the alimentary canal. And then the unused portion is defected through the anus. The excretory system throws out the waste. So there is a buccal cavity. Buccal cavity is this, the buccal cavity, and then there is a food pipe or the oesophagus. Oesophagus people pronounce with O in the starting or without O, esophagus. And then you have a stomach, and then you have a small intestine, you have a large intestine, and then it ends in rectum or the anus where the excretory system sends out the waste. The buccal cavity, the important part is the salivary glands, and then there are other glands in the stomach like the liver, the pancreas. These glands secrete juices which helps them break down the complex food. What we eat is not really fit enough for our blood vessels to convert into energy for the daily activities, for the growth, for the reproduction. So these glands secrete certain juices and enzymes and hormones. These glands secrete certain juices and enzymes and hormones. The liver, the pancreas, to help digestion. Stomach also secretes certain juices. So this is a buccal cavity, this is a food pipe, and then you have a stomach, then you have the small intestine and large intestine as a part of the large alimentary canal that we have, and then we have the anus and the rectum. Food is taken through the mouth or buccal cavity, digested in the stomach and absorbed in the continuous canal, and unused portion is defected. This is a way most of the plants and animals have their digestive system. Going to buccal cavity, what happens is ingestion is taking in of the food. Taking in of the food is called ingestion. The salivary glands secrete the saliva. Salivary glands is in the throat and mouth. When you see some sweets, you feel the thing. When you see a chicken biryani, you feel saliva in your tongue. What it means? It means the mouth is saying that what you saw in your eye is ready to be taken in. Sometimes you don't feel hungry at all. You are seriously involved in doing something. And suddenly, when some cooking happens in the kitchen and some good flavor or smell comes out, you will feel like you are hungry. Why? The intake of by the senses of the presence of food goes to the brain, and brain tells the stomach and the mouth, yes, there is some food ready, be ready for taking it, digesting and getting energy from it. That is why when you see a smell, when you smell something, when you hear food is ready, I am having biryani or I am having a sweets, the moment you hear it, you will feel like, oh, it's better if I could also have it. So this salivary glands secrete saliva in the mouth. This breaks down the starch into sugars. What is starch? Carbohydrate is a starch. It helps to break the starch into sugars. And then the tongue is a fleshy muscular organ. It has the taste buds. Normally, bacteria is present in our mouth are not harmful. There are bacteria present in mouth. That is why some bacteria in our mouth causes a foul odor in our mouth in the early in the morning. That is why we have to brush our teeth not only in the morning and night, but also after every time we have a meal. So bacteria in our mouth are normally not harmful. They are really helpful, but sometimes they are harmful. Then the tongue, the muscular organ, the taste bud tells us what taste it is. According to the taste bud, suppose it is very hot and spicy, then the taste bud will tell you, okay, you have to get some water to dilute it, like that. And then the tongue mixes the saliva with the food. Saliva, you got it from the where? The salivary glands of the mouth. It breaks down into sugar. It is mixed with the food by the tongue. Tongue also helps in swallowing. Tongue helps us to talk. Tongue helps us to swallow. Tongue has taste bud to tell you how nice the food is. So this is the functions of the tongue. Then you have a teeth. Teeth is divided into molars, premolars, canines and incisors. These are the different types of teeth. On the top and the bottom, two jaws you have, upper jaw and lower jaw. Molars, canine, incisors and molar. Different teeth have different function. Some help in tearing, some help in biting, some help in grinding, some help in chewing. Different teeth have different functions for us. The tooth or the teeth, singular plural, is rooted in the separate socket in the gums, teeth socket. Molar, incisor, canine, etc. are the types of teeth. Milk teeth falls between the age of 6 and 8. Milk teeth comes when you are 1 year old or 2 year old, you start getting teeth. It is called milk teeth. You don't have 32 number, but when you are around 6 or 8, the teeth falls down and the normal teeth, adult teeth comes back in their place. Permanent teeth may last throughout the life mostly. But nowadays, because of too much of sugary food that we are eating, most of the adults also have problems with their teeth because they decay because of too much sugary foods. Piercing and tearing is done by one type of teeth. Which teeth? Piercing and tearing. Which teeth helps you? You would have studied in your lower classes. There is a need for revision so that we remember what is the help of different types of teeth that we get when we are eating our food. Chewing and grinding. Some type of teeth helps in chewing and grinding. And then there are other teeth with help in ensuring when you are eating a chicken leg piece, then there is a flesh near the bone of the chicken leg. You don't eat the bone, but you eat the flesh. So different teeth helps in different activities. Some harmful bacteria are there. They are growing inside our mouth because of the residue of the food. So mouth has to be kept clean. The brushing of the teeth the gargling, all those things are important. Now, windpipe. Windpipe carries the air from nostrils to lungs. That is why it is called windpipe. It carries the air from nostrils to the lungs for breathing. Windpipe carries the mouth from nostrils to the lungs for breathing. Inside the throat, air and food share a common passage. Here in the throat, air and food have a common passage. So, how to decide which should go to lungs, which should go to stomach? There is something called trachea. So, flap-like valve closes the passage of the windpipe and guides the food through the food pipe. A flap-like valve closes the passage of the windpipe and guides the food to the food pipe. So food inside the throat, air and food share a common passage. Food is taken from the mouth, air is taken from the nose. Nose, it's the air carried from nostrils to the lungs. Food is carried from mouth to the stomach. Here a valve closes so that food goes into the food pipe and stomach and not to the lungs. There is a valve. So esophagus carries the food and then windpipe carries the air to the lungs for breathing. Food is pushed down by the movement of the walls of the food pipe. Food is pushed down by the movements of the walls of the food pipe throughout the alimentary canal. In the earlier classes, you have studied the digestive system where how the movement of the food pipe helps the food to move down. We have studied, and then food reaches the stomach. Sometimes one rice grain, instead of going to the stomach through the food pipe, if you are talking and breathing while eating, the flap may by mistake allow the food not to go into the food pipe but into the air pipe. So when one small foreign particles goes into the windpipe and it gets stuck in the flap, what happens is you get sneezing, you get coughing, so that the lungs throws out the foreign particles, saying if that solid food comes to lungs, we cannot help. Not only that, it may damage. So you get a cough and sneeze to send that out. Okay, now small intestine. Small intestine is highly coiled. Small intestine is highly coiled. It is about 7.5 meters long. Small intestine is 7.5 meters long. It receives a secretion from the liver and pancreas. Already we have seen the salivary glands is having some secretion which is mixed by the tongue. Then you have here also the liver and pancreas are also secreting. And the secretion of the liver and pancreas is mixed in the small intestine for digesting the food. It is a 7.5 meter long pipe. Now what is stomach? Stomach is a thick walled bag. This is the stomach, a thick walled bag. It is a J-shaped. The lining secretes mucus, hydrochloric acid and digestive juice. So stomach secretes mucus, hydrochloric acid and digestive juices. Then the secretion of liver and pancreas are mixed in intestine. Then we have a salivary glands secretion. So as we have seen, the salivary glands, liver, pancreas all secrete juices that help in digestive process. So the cardinal notch, esophagus, this is the food pipe. It comes into the stomach. This is the body of the stomach. Stomach has portions called the fundus, cardia, pylorus, duodenum and acid. So this is the duodenum. After the stomach, you have the duodenum. After the duodenum, you have the small intestine. Small intestine is 7.5 meters long. It has a cecum, it has appendix, ileum and all. And then ascending colon. After the colon, it goes into the rectum, large intestine, and then it goes into the rectum. So here, the mixing of the secretions of the liver and pancreas happens. Already in the stomach, the mucus, hydrochloric acid and digestive juices are mixed with the food that has come in. Now, these juices are helping the food to be digested in the stomach. Now, what you are eating chicken, you are eating egg, you are eating rice, you are eating wheat. So, when this is being digested, there is a possibility the walls of the stomach may also get digested. So, that is why the mucus helps to ensure the walls of the digestive system, that is the stomach, is not digested, and the hydrochloric acid adds acidity to the food that we are eating so that it is balanced, and the digestive juices helps in breaking down the proteins. We have seen saliva helps in breaking down the starch. Digestive juices help in breaking down the proteins. Now, what are the other secretions that happen? Liver. Liver is a reddish brown gland situated on the upper part of the abdomen on the right side. Liver is a reddish brown gland situated on the upper side of the abdomen on the right side. So, in this picture, this is the liver. Liver, gallbladder and pancreas are important aspects of our digestive system. liver, gallbladder, and pancreas. This is pancreas, this is gallbladder, this is liver. This is the J-shaped stomach. Now, liver is a reddish brown gland. It's a very large gland. It secretes bile. What is special about the bile? Bile helps in digestion of fats. Now we have seen the digestive juices of the stomach helps in breaking down proteins. Bile helps in digestion of the fats. Now fat is digested, protein is digested, starch is the help for digestion of the starch or carbohydrate comes from the salivary glands. Now liver is the largest gland in our body. Now, whatever bile the liver secretes is not fully utilized, but a small portion is also stored in the gallbladder. So, bile is secreted by liver, the largest gland. It helps in breaking down the fat. A small portion is stored in the gallbladder and it is on the upper part of the abdomen. The gallbladder, liver, pancreas and all are together and near the stomach. Pancreas, gallbladder and liver. Now, so how is the food or how is the food digested, or what is that actually that happens in our digestive system? The carbohydrates are broken down into simple sugars such as glucose. Fats are broken down into fatty acid and glycerol. Proteins are broken down into amino acids. Who helps to break down protein? The digestive juices in the stomach. Who helps to break down the fats and glucose into simple sugar? The salivary gland secretions. And then fat is cut down into fatty acid and glycerol with the help of what? With the help of bile. So nutrition is consisting of ingestion, digestion, assimilation, absorption, excretion, all those things. The mode of intake is what? How we have food, whether like a bees or like a fish or like a human being or like a starfish, how do you take the food? Coming back up to small intestine helps in absorption as well as assimilation. Small intestine helps in absorption and assimilation. What is absorption? Digested food can pass into the blood vessel in the wall of the intestine. This intestine has walls which can take the food that has been digested. The blood vessels of the walls of the intestine helps in absorption of proper nutrients from the food. So inner walls of the small intestine have villi, V-I-L-L-I, V-I-L-U-S, V-I-L-L-I. There are thousands of finger-like outgrowth on the walls of the small intestine. Each villus has a network of thin, small blood vessels. And then what happens is the cell glucose is broken down by this when absorbed. Cell glucose is broken down by this when absorbed. Cell glucose breaks down with the help of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Where we get oxygen, carbon dioxide? Oxygen we already breathe. The lungs absorbs the oxygen from the atmosphere. Air, atmospheric air goes through the nose inside, but only oxygen is absorbed by the lungs and then passed on to the cells. Carbon dioxide is also breathed in by us. Water is a part of our food. And using all this, the cells in the small intestine, the villi and the villus, the finger-like outgrowth, which takes the digested food and then releases energy. This is releasing energy is a part of assimilation. Taking the digested food into the villi and villus is a part of absorption. Absorption, digested food is passing on to the blood vessels in the walls of intestine. How is it possible? The walls of intestine has villus. What is villus? Thousands of finger-like outgrowth. What is special about this finger-like outgrowth? They have thin, small blood vessel. So those blood vessels have a permeable membrane and then it takes part of the food, the digested food into. And then assimilation happens. How? The absorbed substances are transported via the blood vessels to different organs. The absorbed food is transported to different organs. There, the cells, what they do with the help of carbon dioxide and oxygen, water, digest the glucose, break down the glucose and release energy. So this is assimilation. Release of energy is assimilation. Undigested food and unabsorbed food enters the large intestine. Undigested food and unabsorbed food enters the large intestine. What is large intestine? This is the large intestine. Here the large intestine ends in the anal canal, the excretory system, the rectum and the anal canal. The small intestine gives the foods to the large intestine. So the cecum and the ascending colon is there, transverse colon is there, descending column is there. Ascending goes up, transverse horizontally passes through, descending comes down. So it has an ileum and a valve also. Now there are various valves in our alimentary canal, in our stomach and trachea. If the valves are not there, what happens? The food we eat will come back to the mouth. Because of the valve only, it doesn't come back. Then how do we vomit? Sometimes when the body feels keeping it in the stomach is more dangerous, it cannot be digested or sent out to the rectum. It cannot be passed on through small and large intestine for a few hours. Why? Because normally when we have food, it takes at least 3 hours for the food to properly get processed and go out through to the excretory system ready for excretion. So before 3 hours, the food remains in our body in different forms. Now when the body feels it is not fit to remain in the body, the foreign body is actually causing damage, and then what happens is vomiting happens. The food is thrown out through the mouth. When food reaches the stomach and when the body feels it need not be thrown out through the mouth, but it is not good for the stomach, then what happens? Dysentery and diarrhea happens, where you pass through the motion. Frequent motion of unnecessary material that is found in the body is sent out by the body. So that is why when food poisoning happens, when you say food poisoning, you may have multiple vomiting or you may have dysentery diarrhea type of multiple motions. Okay, large intestine. Large intestine is wider and shorter than small intestine. Small intestine is 7.5 meter long. Large intestine is wider and shorter. It is thick but not long. It absorbs the water and salts from the undigested food. We have seen after the assimilation, that is absorption of the substance and the conversion to energy, the rest is undigested and absorbed sent to large intestine. From the large intestine, leftover salts and water are absorbed by the large intestine, and then the waste, whatever is waste, whatever is unnecessary, passes into the rectum and remains there as semi-solid feces. Okay, this is how the digestion happens in large and small intestine. The fecal matter is again removed through the anus from time to time. It is removed through the anus from time to time. That is why we say regularly we should pass motion at least once in a day, so that unnecessary waste and unwanted food does not remain in our body. Now, is it the same for plants and animals and all other living things? No. Human digestive system is little bit more evolved like this. Human digestive system is more evolved like this. But then most of the mammals have their tooth, teeth, the mouth and all delivered. Likewise, most of them have the same type of windpipe. Most of the animals have the same shape of the stomach or the same shape of the intestine. But then large and small intestines also are similar in mammals. But one small difference is that in the ruminant is a grass eating animal. What is a grass eating animal? Goat, deer, cow, buffalo, ox. In the grass eating animals, they are called ruminants. Why? There is something special. They swallow the grass and they store the grass. Where do they store the grass? They store the grass in this pink color sac. This pink color sac is a rumen. They store the gas in the pink color sac called rumen. What happens in the rumen? Part of the stomach is called rumen. Here partially digested food is kept. It is not actually fully digested or fully thing. They grind, they chew the grass and then put it in the stomach, in the rumen, part of the stomach. And then later it is brought back. This half digested food or only biting and grinding has been done, nothing else has been done, which remains in the rumen is taken back to the mouth and then in small lumps, and then it is chewed again. Grinding happens again and only then it is sent to stomach. This is called chew the cud. Chew the cud is what? Grinding back the partially digested cud taken from the rumen back to the mouth is the chew the cud. This is called rumination. And these grass eating animals do this, and that is why it's called ruminant, rumination. So this is taken back. Why this needs to be done? Because the speciality of the grass. What is special in grass? Grass is rich in cellulose, and the bacteria present in the rumen helps the digestion of this cellulose. Directly you cannot take the grass to the stomach, to the intestine for digestion. So the grass is soaked in a bacteria, a large swarm of bacteria in the rumen. So when the grass is soaked in that bacteria for some time, The bacteria helps digestion of the cellulose, and then that grass is brought back and then chewed again and ground again by way of rumination, that is chewing the cud, or that is re-chewing or re-grinding the small lumps of grass that is stored in rumen and then passed on to stomach, so that the hard cellulose of grass can be digested by the stomach, omasum, abomasum are the parts where it is now ground. So this is the digestive system of grass eating animals called ruminants. Now rabbits and horses have some extra portion or different portion. They are called functional cecum. They are called cecum. So the food is taken in through the esophagus to the stomach, and not to the rumen, but to the stomach. It goes inside like small intestine, and instead of large intestine, what we have is called functional cecum. Here the food is digested. So in horse and rabbits, a large sac-like structure called cecum exists between esophagus and small intestine. This is the small intestine. Between the esophagus and small intestine, and the food cellulose here is digested by the bacteria. In the cecum, it is digested by the bacteria, or digestion is helped by the bacteria. Likewise, here the bacteria in rumen helps to break down the, what do you call, the grass, cellulose in the grass. Now let us look at amoeba. There are many organisms which have only a small single cellular structure. Now, when a small singular structure like amoeba exists, how will they eat their food? So, they have something called false feet. This finger-like projection is called false feet, pseudopod. Okay, now this pseudopodia is a plural, pseudopod is a singular. Pod means what? Leg-like thing. Pseudo means what? False. So what happens is this amoeba keeps on changing shape and changing position. When they find the prey, then the pseudopodia tries to engulf the prey. Pseudopodia, the finger-like projection, engulfs the food. It can be living or non-living. This prey or a food particles engulfed by the pseudopodia, and this microorganism or this food particle is taken into the vacuole. Once it is engulfed, it closes. The pseudopodia or the legs closes here and opens at another place. So it engulfs, and then this is pushed into the vacuole. This yellow color is the vacuole, food vacuole. Pushed into the food vacuole. Food vacuole has what? It has digestive juices, and this helps in digestion and absorption of the microorganism or the food particle. Undigested food is again thrown out by the vacuole. Undigested portion is thrown out by the vacuole. So, unicellular organisms, microorganisms like amoeba do not have a mouth or a digestive system, but they use the pseudopodia to capture, engulf and capture the other organisms or food particle, and then pushes it into the vacuole where the digestive juices absorb the necessary nutrient, and the rest remaining undigested unwanted portion is thrown away. What does amoeba look like? Amoeba is having a cell membrane, rounded cell membrane. They have a dense nucleus in between and a small bubble-like vacuole for digestion of a food. And all this is present in something called cytoplasm, a liquid-like thing which is covered by the membrane in the cell. So going back to understand amoeba better, this is the pseudopods of the amoeba. It is irregular in shape. Mostly it is unicellular. That means it has only one nucleus and only one cell. This is the endoplasm. Whatever is inside is endoplasm. Whatever is near the membrane is the ectoplasm. Both together is called the cytoplasm or the liquid in the cell. Cytoplasm means liquid in the cell. These are various crystals. This is the food vacuole. So, plasma membrane is a membrane, cell membrane that covers the cell. This is a pseudopod. When a food is found here, this closes and the food prey or particle is given to this vacuole or this vacuole. This vacuole absorbs whatever is necessary and whatever is unwanted is thrown out. This is how the amoeba works. What are the keywords we studied? We studied about absorption, assimilation, etc. We studied amino acid is what the protein gets converted into. We have seen how amoeba has his food by using the pseudopod. We have seen bile is secreted in the liver and stored in gallbladder. Canine is one type of teeth we have. Cellulose is there in the grass which makes it difficult to digest. And then digestion is one of the process like ingestion, digestion, assimilation, absorption, and egestion is a process of excreting unnecessary things. Fatty acid is what is produced when fat is broken down. Food vacuole in amoeba helps in taking the food. It is a stomach plus mouth plus digestive system together for the amoeba. Gallbladder, we store the fat excess bile excess that is created by the liver. And then incisor is a type of teeth that helps us in biting. Liver secretes biggest gland. Milk teeth is what you have when you are a kid between age 2 and 8, and then it goes off or falls off. Molar is a type of teeth that helps in grinding. Permanent teeth, what you get after your age of 6, 7, 8, and then remains mostly permanent throughout the year, throughout the life. But then what happens is when you are 60 or 70 years old, slowly one by one, teeth may fall off as you age. The falling of the teeth, the graying of the hair, the not having enough sense to hear, not able to see, all these are symptoms or symbols in a human body that says the human body, the cells are nearing their maximum possible healthy lifetime period. Oesophagus is a food pipe, like windpipe we have food pipe. Pancreas also secretes juices that helps in digestion. Premolars and molars are the type of teeth. Pseudopodia is a false leg. Rumen is where food is kept, the grass is kept by the cows and goats for the bacteria to help them digest faster, and then it is taken back to the mouth from the rumen for chewing the cud, and then that is called rumination. Ruminant is a type of animals that carry out rumination. Salivary glands produce juices that help to break down the starch. Villi is a small finger-like projection, thousands of them in the small intestine that absorb the digested food. Saliva in the mouth helps in breaking down the starch. This is what we have seen. Now, this was a session on nutrition animals for class 7, chapter 2. Please keep coming back for more such videos.